Welcome to Nerd Sports, where we discuss topics that provoke thought without any fuss. Team of veterans and a brave civilian unite under Angry Me Productions' guiding light. We are a beacon for those who seek audacious humor, unafraid to speak, celebrating freedom with every beat, exploring controversial issues, taking a seat, navigating life with intellect, not defeat. The Nerd Force always with us, never discreet.
We here at Angry Me Production want to thank our sponsor, Mobile Notary Mindy. She's certified with the National Notary Association. She's also bonded and E&O insured. She offers a wide range of services including wills, powers of attorney, medical documents, healthcare proxies, living wills, certification of trust, assignment of personal property, HIPAA waivers, advanced healthcare directives, and 99 verification. You can find her on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram at Mobile Notary Mindy. You can also visit her webpage at TexasMobileNotaryMindy.com. That's TX, MobileNotaryMindy.com. Thank you so much, and enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen of all ages, boys and girls, thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of Angry Me Production. We appreciate you coming in and letting us be a part of your lives, week in and week out. We hope to do our best to present you with something that your eardrums delight in. Whether you're looking at us on YouTube or Rumble, or listening to us on Spotify, Google, or Anchor, or any of the other podcast services that we are currently on or trying to get on, we thank you. And if you don't mind, at the end of every episode, stop by, leave us a comment, leave us a like. If it asks for 5 stars, we'll take 5 stars, even if you don't like us. 5 stars are what it's all about. With that being said, we hope you enjoy our attempt to make our advocation our vocation. Ladies and gentlemen, let the games begin. Ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, angry faithful of all ages. Welcome to Nerd Sports episode 176. We are starting the show a little shorthanded, but you know what? That's okay because, you know, we have substance before beauty. Mr. Jackal will be joining us here shortly, momentarily.
Oh, Max is supposed to show up pretty soon, so.
Well, yeah. Max is part Mac.
Jeff.
Okay. You can add him to the stage. I don't care.
My name is Jeff.
Good afternoon. Good evening, Jeff. How are you doing today? My name is Jeff. Yeah.
Watch his mic.
You're not quite pulling off the whole Channing Tatum and 22 Jump Street, but I appreciate the effort you're putting down.
Are you?
But like I was saying, episode 176. Welcome. We David and I had an adventurous weekend. David came down, visited the homestead down here in Brazoria County over the weekend. Sent him home with some smoked brisket, and he managed to eat his entire dinner's worth of brisket on the trip home.
Yeah.
So, you know, just kind of makes me feel good.
I was hungry.
Well, I mean,
no, it was really good. It was I kid, but it was really good. It was really tasty.
But yeah, so the month of August was an incredibly busy month for me.
Wait a minute, John. Yeah. Are we forgetting the main thing? Reason why people actually watch the beginning part of the show? Well, I think you're forgetting, sir.
You know,
I think
what?
You're forgetting.
You know what? I apologize because I just got done jumping on you for jumping the shark, and what do?
You jump the shark. Yes.
So
yes.
We are going to come back on track, and we are going to take the Polar Express to what is traditionally known as the first segment of the week. David with his weird sport.
The sport we're going to be talking about today is called handball, but it's not handball as you think. It is like soccer, and basketball combined. Basically, they throw the ball around, throw it into the goal. Jesus, he did the splits to stop that ball. But it's like soccer rules, but basketball rules combined with
You know,
we don't do free advertisements. Hold on, sir. Hold on. We'll get this fixed up. We don't do free.
I honestly think that I could get into that as a younger man with
We don't
more.
negotiate with terrorists.
Right.
Do what?
He said we don't negotiate with terrorists.
Oh, yes. But yeah, okay. If looking at this right here, we have 3 plan, and I can't get, but it looks like half. It's a combination of basketball and soccer, or Europeans like to say football.
Football, yeah.
Football.
I can dig it.
Yeah.
And there's Mr. Jacka.
The Jacka.
And I Jacka.
Jacka.
Jacka. And we were just saying when we came in, we said that we're shorthanded, but
we're like
I said you know, we're going to start the show off with substance. The beauty's going to come in later. You know, that kind of deal.
And here I am.
Yeah, and here you are. But yeah, no, like I was attempting to say, out of turn, I might add. The month of August was a pretty busy month for me.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, I had the rare opportunity to get in 6 ball games, live professional ball games this month or last month. I went to 3 Space Cowboys games, which is the AAA affiliate for the Astros, and then I went to 3 Astro games up at Minute Maid Park. Man, 6 ball games in 1 month. Oh, and there's the gift from Mr. Jacka.
I thought y'all were fucking with me.
No.
You really got it?
Yes.
That's awesome. Oh, that's amazing.
You couldn't be there, so I had to get you something, buddy.
Damn it, I love y'all. Oh, that's awesome.
So
I
firmly believe I have like this whole thing going on in my head next season, because I mean it's too late in the season to try to plan something like that, but next season we need to figure out a weekend that y'all two can come down here and the 3 of us go turn loose at Minute Maid Park.
Oh, hell yeah.
4 of us, but yeah.
Well, 4. But I mean, that's provided Max can come down.
As long as I don't have to walk. My name is Jeff. I can come. But I would let this other person know that you've asked him as well.
Man, walking, there might be a little bit of that involved. Yeah.
I mean, for the vehicle and everything, the problem is the stairs. I don't think they have elevators.
Well, no, they have escalators, dude. Remember? Because you were like, it's been forever since I've ridden on an escalator. It was funny watching David get onto an escalator.
Yeah, because it's like I was like, if you get on a bike, you just you'll get into it. No, it's the same.
I have
thing.
to see him put a foot on the step, and then his legs, slowly spread out further and further until his trailing foot was drug onto the escalator, kind of a thing, while he's holding onto the railing. That's what I had in my mind. But he gathered himself up, conducted himself like a professional. He acted like he'd been there before. So,
no, I tripped.
Bravo to you.
Listen,
that was the problem. I tripped.
Yeah, but you didn't roll all the way back down to the bottom. You didn't get caught in the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
No emergency services had to be called. I call that a win.
Yeah. But we went to a Friday night game.
We saw fireworks.
Yeah, they did a live fireworks show after the game on Friday.
Nice.
We saw Simone.
Friday night's game was exceptionally good because we saw a no-hitter being taken into the 8th inning.
Oh.
And I'm like, man, we don't talk about this. I looked at, I was talking to the guy sitting next to us. I was like, we're not going to talk about what's going on, right? And he goes, no, we're not. I said, okay. And I'm trying to explain to David the juju's
I was
involved.
looking at the cash jackpot that he had me go in for the
I didn't make you do
ballpark lottery.
We're almost 8 minutes in. I didn't make you do shit, sir.
No, he was trying to explain this. And
I
he's
was
like,
explaining the 50-50 raffle, and he's like, you know what? How much? And I was like, oh, well, there that is. And what's he do? He pulls out his card, but had he won the 50-50 raffle, he would have taken home like 10 grand.
No, it was like 31.
Oh, so you would have taken home just under 16, but still.
Yeah.
But the seats that we got the $7 ticket seats, right? Because they were running a ticket sale, $7 for the nosebleeds, and the nosebleed section that I picked was pretty close to home, behind home plate. So
Yeah.
we had a pretty good view of the entire park, right?
What was funny about it is like, I paid for the tickets because I gave it to Mindy. Technically, it was half and half because I was like, I gave her the $15. She's like, don't worry about the extra $1. Just don't spend it on like bubble gum or something. And Johnny goes, it's going to be like 21 or something dollars. So she's actually still out of pocket.
Yeah.
I was like, dick.
I mean, it still came out of our account. So, all in a wash, whatever, right? 6.5, 1 dozen.
Yeah.
But now I'm going to ask for some grace here. I had told my wife and my sister-in-law that if I were to ever purchase and wear an Astros jersey, it would have to be an Alex Bregman, right? And we have discussed in the past about how the Space City uniforms are just atrocious to look at. It's funny how when things go on sale, that it kind of changes your viewpoint on things.
Oh yeah.
So they were running like a clearance sale on all their City Connect gear over the, when the Royals were in town. So what is normally a $45 to $50 fitted hat, we got for $10.
Yeah.
Right? The fitted, the on-field caps, right? $10. Nice. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna argue with that. But then here's the thing: the $180 replica jerseys, they were selling for $50 a piece.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? It's Alex Bregman. I can get a Breggy jersey. Not a big deal. So
worth it.
Yeah. I sent my wife a picture and then she showed it to her sister and she's like, I thought he said that he didn't like those because those uniforms are ugly. And the longer that I'm wearing this jersey, right, I'm like, it's not that ugly when it's by itself. It's when you couple it with the 1970s pants that's got the number on the leg that makes them just like over the top ugly.
Right.
It looks cool, honestly. In my opinion, it looks really cool.
Now, just like the inside of the hat, it says Houston, the Eagle has landed. There's a tab at the bottom of the jersey it's got the same thing. So it's got some cool stuff in there, and the Texas flag patch on the left arm's got all the Houston area codes on there. I'm like, okay.
Mine doesn't say the Eagles landed. It's just 59.50.
It should. The orange tab. Oh wow, you did. Oh no, you did not get that. Okay, see, because mine says it right there.
Yeah.
Which is the only reason why I initially got the hat, because I was like, okay, that's cool for me, right? Because that's kind of cool. To my knowledge, it's really the only City Connect anything that was offered by the MLB teams that had anything specifically to do with the city other than some kind of like color scheme. Right. So I'm like, all right, that's cool. But yeah, it was an amazingly blessed month of baseball for me. So that's all I'm going to say.
And he did get a chuckle when I was trying to go into the ballpark because I bring my fanny pack.
Yeah, Chris, you know how he has that fanny pack?
Oh, I
Yeah,
got one.
well acquainted with fanny pack.
He damn near got strip searched going into the ballpark because of it. And there's two black ladies that are standing there, right, part of the security team, and they're looking at him, and they got that look on their face, like, you know. And I get their attention, and I look, and they look over at me, and I'm like, ladies, that is in fact a white man thing. And if you ever see me come into this ballpark with one of those on, ban me for life right there.
Listen, I'm white, but I don't think I'm that white.
Well, I got a new it's a new style of holster. It's very comfortable for me. And I have extra magazines for it.
For what it's worth, David, if anything else, you have adopted that and have kind of made it your own. It's like a little trademark David Dickerman thing.
Apparently it's a Dickerman thing because my dad bought one. That's the reason why he bought two. So I could have one, and it actually works out. And everybody that's like seen it, they're like, "Oh, dude, where did you get that at?" And I give them the website and everything. They're like, "Okay, I'm buying one now." It's just Johnny being stuck up and Chris being stuck up. I guess it's an Army thing because they don't do fanny packs.
No, I just have this thing called style. Oh, says, thank you, Bell. Exactly. That is him trying to make it what it is not. It's a fucking fanny pack, and you will call it as such.
The French actually invented the fanny pack.
There you go. See,
fucking Jeff.
Now you're bringing the French into it.
I mean, that's like trying to call a spit roast a menage a trois, trying to add some class to it.
If you want to get like an official French fanny pack, you need to make sure you have a uniform and a rainbow on it. Otherwise, it's not official. So,
well, he needs the beret, and he needs to wear it like they do in the movies. Kind of puffed up and fucked up, going to the other side.
Yeah.
It's
got the.
I feel like we're dressing Dave up right now
for failure. You're dressing me up.
I've gotten at this point almost like a little.
Dressing you up for failure. We're not the ones that put the fucking fanny pack on you, dude. You did that yourself.
Nobody can hear anything.
Oh God.
That's why I was milking sideways, huh?
Oh, but yeah.
Oh. It's got the pouch to save it for later.
But it was a good one. It was a good game, and I'm so glad I went there and I seen the Astros actually win. And after the Astros won,
and it was a walk-off win. Altuve with an RBI walk-off double.
No, bro. he had to punch that ball all the way up to the.
It stayed in play, David. That was a double. It was officially recorded as a double. It did not pass. Okay. The way that the ground rules at a ballpark work is that anything above that yellow line in the outfield is considered a home run. Anything below that is considered in play.
Okay.
So,
and then after the Astros won, we both promptly said, "Fuck you, Max."
Yes, yeah, because I mean they were playing the Kansas
City that was playing.
They were playing the Kansas City Royals, and so we were like, "Fuck you, Max."
we had the whole thing set up. It was like if the Royals win, we gotta text Max, "Fuck you." But if the Astros win, we still gotta send Max a message saying "Fuck you."
Yeah. So, yeah, it is what it is. But I mean, it was a pretty good weekend. In other places in baseball, Shohei Ohtani, they've got him on the 50-50 watch. It's 50 stolen bases, 50 home runs. He racked up 3 steals over the weekend. He's up to 46 steals right now. So that's pretty impressive. I mean, I get that it's the Shohei Ohtani show out there in LA, but I don't know. I mean, it's still kind of cool to watch. But yeah, let me see here. Some Ranger news for you there. For you. Jacob said he feels really good after a third rehab start. Yeah, let me see here.
Good thing we
didn't. Go ahead, David.
Good thing we didn't see him play against the Cincinnati Reds. By the way, they lost that game.
Shot was not racist. He was just honest. I'm sorry. There was a flashback medication.
No, my brain was suddenly tossed into vapor lock with David's statement of at least we didn't see him play against the Cincinnati Reds. I'm like, I was talking about Jacob deGrom of the Rangers.
No, I was looking at the thing, and
there you go. There you go. Jumping the shark.
I have to jump the shark at least like 3 times.
Jot it down, chisel it in stone, save it somehow.
You jumped the shark in the beginning of the thing,
and I apologized.
Yeah,
and yet, you continue to do this, not necessarily out of malice or planned intent, but it's more of you continue to do this because at this point it's been demonstrated to be nothing more than sheer incompetence.
You're not wrong. You're absolutely not wrong. So I at no point in time had said that I was intelligent enough to do this show.
But so they he's in AAA right now with the Rangers AAA team down in Round Rock, Round Rock Express, I think they're called. And it was for the series. It was a series finale against Oklahoma City, their AAA team. Oklahoma City is a AAA affiliate for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Let me see here. You tossed 2 2/3 scoreless innings. He allowed 1 hit, 1 walk, striking out 5. The plan was for him to throw about 45 pitches or 3 innings. He ultimately threw 43 and 2 2/3. So he threw 18 fastballs, 18 sliders, mixed in a few changeups. His fastball velocity was down just a tick, but it averaged 97.8 and it peaked at 99.7. He said, quote, "I've seen glimpses of my old self. I've gone so long without pitching competitively. I think sometimes with the slider, I try to do too much with it and yank it. Yesterday, I was trying to make adjustments in the game. I ended up throwing 5 in a row at one point because I was like, I'm going to keep doing this until I throw it how I want it." So if he can get back and make a start at the big league level before the end of the season, I think that's going to do him a lot of good going into the off season. Because I mean, at this point, the Rangers are not they're not even remotely close to sniffing the playoffs, let alone a wild card, because they're still under 500 right now. They're at 65 and 72.
Yeah, but you also got to look at what's been happening with the Astros. They weren't even thought of to be in the playoffs this year either, and then they stepped up their game for a little bit.
Well,
August baseball.
The Astros were never counted out. The Astros were never counted out of the playoffs to begin with. It was widely believed at the beginning of the season that with Texas coming off of their first World Series title, that the Astros' reign of being division winners was coming to an end. And that this Texas squad had a good core around it, and they just had to keep. Didn't
they lose a lot of key players though?
But it's the core, like Corey Seager, Adolis Garcia, Young. I mean, Young really. Rather, I mean, some of them, like the younger players with a couple of the high profile contract, long-term contract veterans that they've had.
Yes,
since last year. That's what they were referring to is kind of building around that core. And with Texas, I think they really dropped the ball on a lot of their free agent signings and mishaps over during the offseason last year, specifically Colin Montgomery.
Okay.
I mean, now Montgomery's his former agent Scott Boras had a lot to do with that, demanding $300 million. And we've gone over that ad nauseum in previous episodes. kind of just a refresher. It's one of those. You really can't make a case that you're worth $300 million off of basically what it amounts to is a month and a half sample, right? Because Montgomery didn't get real shit hot last year until the last couple of starts in September, all the way through to the World Series. Now, like, he basically, as far as defensively was concerned, pitching staff every 5 days, he was the backbone of that entire postseason push, right?
Yeah.
Now, a lot of his fall off this year is being attributed to the fact that he didn't have really any kind of spring training to stretch him out to get, the offseason kinks worked out of his delivery, get him mechanically sound again to where he could replicate what he did last year. And that's the thing is it was a couple years ago that, you had all these free agents that were still out there on, looking for a job.
Mm-hmm.
They decided to get together and they formed their own spring training camp off-site. I think it was in Florida still.
It's actually a really smart move.
It is. It was. And they formed their own. And it only, to my knowledge, it only lasted that one season. Because it was coming off of the it was going into, I want to say it was going into the beginning of last year. So they had actually, you know what? It was it was the 2022 season. So they had that free agent camp where the free agents would show up, they would work out together, they would play scrimmage games. And they were working together to be ready in case one of them were to sign a contract with a team. They could just pack up their bags and just fly out to where their team was, and then just kind of hit the ground running, as opposed to, well, now I've got to stretch, I've got to work my pitch count up, I've got to work out my, I got to stretch out to make that 6 or 7 inning quality start. He didn't get that. And a lot of that was because of the length of time that it took for him to find a home ultimately in Arizona. So, I mean, he's in a good place in Arizona right now, I think. I mean, they're in third place. They've got a winning season going. As far as wild card standings are concerned, they're 2.5 games out. What?
I just thought about the free agent camp and the Island of Misfit Toys all in the same spot. And
you're not wrong. You're really not wrong.
Or even worse, they don't have pet stores that much anymore to where you can go look at the puppies or anything. I would say like an animal shelter. You basically go in and you just see the players. You just see the players. I can play baseball. I can play for your team. I can play your team.
Yeah,
Pick me.
It was a rescue shelter, is what it was.
Yeah,
but it was like the Major League Humane Society. Yeah.
Yes, and if they didn't get picked, they just take them out in the back and yell at them.
Damn.
Just remember, 22 lets you have an open casket, an open casket funeral.
Mm-hmm.
Right behind you. Just ask Joe Pesci. See, I'm going to take my watch off because apparently Siri feels as though she needs to interject. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how these playoff races work themselves out. I mean, the Royals took a 4-game sweep in Houston, but Boston didn't help their case any. They're 4 games back of the third wild card slot being held by the Royals right now.
Mm-hmm.
They won 1 game out of 3. And actually they lost their last 2. The Red Sox have.
But
so
it's not that bad.
The Red Sox are 3-7 over their last 10 games.
It's still not that bad.
It's not that bad. It to be completely honest, it should have been better.
Okay. it's a lot worse for the White Sox.
Well, the White Sox, the White Sox were eliminated last month. They were the earliest team in Major League Baseball history to be eliminated from the playoffs.
Yeah, but how many people went to their game this weekend?
Oh, yeah. Over the weekend, you guys missed it. They had an announced attendance of 17 people.
Damn.
Tickets are going for $1.
Yes.
And they still can't get people to go.
I looked at David and I was like, "You want to go to Chicago for a ball game?" And he was
Dude,
like,
I would absolutely
"No."
listen. I would absolutely for $1 to go watch that train wreck. Hell yeah!
And where's the stadium at?
It's in the south side of Chicago.
Oh, really? There's no problems for the south side of
Hence
Chicago.
the team named the Chicago White Sox.
Listen, not only do you get to go and see this absolute train wreck, but you also have the possibility of getting your first stateside kill. That's a win-win in my situation.
You know, are absolutely right.
Oh, yeah.
I see that as an absolute win.
When they got 17 people coming through the turnstiles, they don't even bother to pull the damn metal detectors out.
Right.
You know,
like why?
I mean, thank goodness that Angel Hernandez retired from umpiring, because if he ended up at one of those games and he called a bad ball or bad strike,
imagine
somebody from the grandstands, they're going to get a long distance Glock shot on him, and it's going to be hilarious. You're going to see him lean back to call that third strike, and then his head's going to go back and to the left like JFK.
Back to the left.
Yeah.
Back to the left.
And then Seinfeld's going to have to come out of retirement and make an episode just for that.
That is one magic loogie.
Yeah.
The magic loogie. That's right.
but yeah, it would. No, what was funny about it is Johnny was like, they only had like 17 people. And then I looked it up. It was like, I thought it would have been like really bad for like tickets, because it wasn't Jacksonville Jaguars. It was the North Carolina Panthers, I think, where they were selling tickets for like 30
Carolina Panthers. Yeah, they were selling tickets for ridiculously cheap,
like 43 cents or something.
Yeah, 43 cents for an NFL ticket.
Yeah,
I'm like, man,
and the seats weren't even like bad seats. They were really good seats.
Yeah, but I don't know. And it was funny because like David's sitting there telling me, he's like, I've never been to a Major League Baseball game before. I was like, oh my God. I felt like I needed to take some candles and set the mood because I was popping his baseball cherry this weekend. And
he was gentle.
I was very gentle-ish. Yeah.
He did the whole hot tit.
That's not your job.
Yeah, that's kind of your role there, bud.
Oh,
who drove? Let's put it that way. Who drove?
Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah, see, you're absolutely hooked to it at that point.
No, okay, totally. Yeah, but he was a gentle giant when he spooned.
This is romantic. I love this.
But yeah, no, it was a good weekend overall. Definitely want to plan, an Angry Me weekend down here in the Houston area. That to me, that would be pretty awesome.
You guys have any specials or sales going on right now on 762x39? As we don't have anything in the Midwest right now.
I'll send you a link.
Yeah, David will get you with the hookup guy.
Sad days.
So moving on to football, and I'm going to address this first so that way David doesn't fall out of his damn seat. San Francisco 49ers placed rookie wide receiver Ricky Pearsall on the reserve non-football injury list on Monday, one day after he was released from the hospital. He suffered a gunshot wound to the chest during an attempted robbery at Union Square in San Francisco on Saturday and was hospitalized before being released on Sunday. Pearsall's mother wrote on social media her son was in good spirits on Sunday, and he will spend at least a month on the reserve NFL list while recovering from the gunshot. Now, San Francisco spent the 31st overall pick of the 2024 draft on the former Florida standout, who dealt with a shoulder injury during the preseason and returned to practice last week. Now the 49ers season begins on next Monday, against the New York Jets at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, California. So, and when that story broke, David was at the house, and we're all sitting there, and I'm sitting there going, did we put this up there?
Yes, I just put those up there.
Okay. I was reading, so I mean, I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you just wanted to put up there again.
Absolutely.
Well, it was the when we're merging onto I-10, it was this wave out the window that really got me for the evening.
You don't normally do that?
No, because I've got my hands on the steering wheel.
I did that in the ghetto. People were
yeah, I took Dave through the third ward.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dude, still that pat down at that bar was freaking hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, we pulled up to a stoplight, and there was a couple coming up to a bar. The girl shows her ticket, bouncer lets her through, and then security guys, hold up, my guy, put your hands up, and patted him down. And then made him stop, turn back around, and explain something to him to let him go in there with his woman.
Wow.
I'm like, damn, dude. Okay. All right. But
to young David?
No, it was a
I didn't go. No, we already had troubles with the ballpark. This is actually a bar.
Yeah, it was a bar outside, I mean, in the third ward. Which is probably like, I don't know, a mile from the ballpark.
Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't take that one because we had too much traffic going on.
Yeah, I mean, traffic on 45 was ridiculous. Well, it was 288. Yeah, it was traffic on 288 and 45. It was just ridiculous going into the game.
I didn't have a problem getting out of Houston.
I have figured
out
the fastest way to get back to my place from the ballpark, and that is hop up onto I-10 like you're going to San Antonio, and then just jump down onto 45 South like you're going to Galveston, and it's just take the 288 exit, and boom. I think it took us maybe like an hour, about an hour and 10 minutes to get home from the ballpark on Friday.
Yeah.
That's not too bad.
And real quick, I don't mean to interrupt off topic. I've got to go to Houston this month or next month because that is the closest Russian embassy. And my old man's infiltrating current wife needs to go down there in order to get her reparations from the former Soviet Union. So I will be down in the Houston area very soon.
Well, just holler at me, man, because like literally, I'm an hour south of Houston.
I think it's close to the Woodlands area, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember.
Okay, so Woodlands. All right, so the Woodlands is like an hour and a half from here, because that's North Houston. But yeah, it's just on 45. You could take 45 south, all the way to 288. 288 will run you into Brazoria County, right to where I live.
What kind of reparations? We're missing that question.
So this lady was a
political prisoner, military
guest of the
state. She
state.
still owed money. Yeah, guest of the state type of thing, you could say. And the only place that she is able to go and collect her pension from Russia / former Soviet Union is to drive down to Houston every year or every other year with my old man. And these two guys, they're old now. They don't they're batshit crazy. So they asked me, the crippled guy, to go ahead and take them down there. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'll go. Shit, there's some partners down in Texas I'd love to meet. So
yeah,
it's a great opportunity.
You're heading down this way. If anything else, man, we could figure out halfway, which I think is for as far as like proximity for you and me would be Pearland. There's a pretty good Mexican restaurant called Jimmy Changas there in Pearland.
When did you say you were doing this?
I'm going to find out hopefully by the end of this week with the holiday. It's hard to say, but next week for sure. So yeah, I'll be going down, and I'll be there for a week because I don't want to do anything fast because they're old.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's like a Thursday or a Friday, hell yeah, dude, I'm down. Because Monday through Wednesday, I've got school. I mean, obviously Monday nights we're doing this, but Tuesday and Wednesday I've got classes in the evening, so my evenings are tied up. Yeah, Thursday and Friday though.
Yeah, I might be able to swing if I can swing a day off. I might head over there too and just crash at your place, Johnny, if that's all right. And then that way you can meet up. I don't want to make any promises, but I'm gonna do my damnedest to see if we can do that. Because
let's do the logistics off camera, and we'll see what we could make happen. Because hell yeah, dude. But
we could all go to the Russian embassy together.
Oh yeah.
No, because Chris and I are probably on a watch list somewhere.
I'm definitely on a watch list.
Yeah, David. Yeah, the three of us are probably on a Russian watch list somewhere. FSB would probably come out of the woodworks and like snatch us up, and we'd end up on some black site in the middle of the Caribbean or something. It'd be no bueno. We come to, and there's like a plethora of 1950s era cars driving up and down the road. Like, we're in fucking Cuba, aren't we?
They got some sweet rides though. They're like brand new. They take care of the shit here. Not like Venezuela.
Like
numbers, Mason. What do they mean?
I'm gonna go ahead and save you guys some trouble here. Just go ahead and send me 90 miles back to the north. We'll figure it out from there. Okay.
Fantastic.
Just drop me off in the middle of Little Havana up there in Miami. I'll let them know that some dissidents dropped me off. I'll get back home safely. Just don't worry about that.
Like 164th Cuban.
I'll just see if they've got like a Hindy that we can borrow. They can just drop me off right here in my front yard.
Oh, right.
Call it good.
No,
I'm going to need you guys to fly really low the closer we get to the coastline, though, because I don't really want to get shot down in a Hindy. That wouldn't be that's hard to explain.
That might be a kind of a weird.
You get to Valhalla. That's a hard thing to explain. Like,
but look at it this way: we would definitely end up in an Angry Cops video. 100%, we would end up on Angry Cops and possibly even a breakdown video with Unsubscribe.
No, it would be
if it was an F-22 that did the intercept, we would make the habitual line crossing videos.
Yes, even better if we were the ones that got the kid his intercept. Right. Hell yeah, it'd be worth it. Absolutely dead.
You know what it'd be like? It'd be like a grown adult remake version of fucking Road Trip.
Except we're gonna leave it to you to find somebody with the leopard print panties, Max.
100 now. This would be a
guy. I'll get him on the phone right now. We'll get him on the show.
This would definitely be a remake of Stripe.
Of course, David would be the one going, "Did I say 2 fingers? Better make it 3."
I call it a fistful of dollars where I come from, but hey, different strokes for different folks. People, come on.
Yeah.
Why so serious?
Fistful of dollars. Oh God, that's classic.
Oh man.
It's almost as bad as what happened to me at work one day. And guy was describing, he's like, yeah, the last time I saw my wife had sex, I was in a chair. I was like, and I automatically was like, oh, so you're a cuck. And he's like, there's a name for it. I'm like, yes, there's a name for almost everything.
I'd be like, dude, I wouldn't say that out loud, like at all.
All right. So getting back on track here, we're going to make an amendment to the NFL picks charity giveaway at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. Instead of raising the pot for the person with the lowest pick record, we're just going to keep it at an even $5 a week per person. Right. And the loser at the end of the season gets to be the winner because they're going to be the ones that picks from the list of charities that you, Chris, will provide for us.
Okay.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? All right, go fuck yourselves. All right, it passed unanimously. Okay.
And I sent the Venmo thing
Yes.
You can just put it in there.
Yes.
Now, mind you,
you said $5 a week.
Yeah, $5 a week.
It's either, I don't want to use my my Cash App because I end up like using my Cash App and I don't want to do anything. Venmo, I forgot even.
Racketeering or swimming.
Huh?
Are we doing it like a subscription service? Like if we pay the whole annual fee, do we get a percentage off?
No.
These are questions that people want to know. That's
hey, look, man. I mean, we're gonna contribute to, non-SOF type veteran organizations or
these are gonna be.
Yeah, there's not going to be any of this SOF stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, Special Forces community, hats off to you guys.
Listen, not saying they don't need help, but there are plenty of people that are already helping.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one in town that's going around. It's called Soldier's Wish that my company is a part of. I have their freaking.
Yeah, we can do all that off camera, and during the week we can talk about all that stuff. But
and we have all season to compile that list. So
so yeah,
and out there in listener land too. If you have any suggestions, email us. Throw some suggestions out. We can look into it and vet those, and look into it. But absolutely, you guys are involved in this as well. Your donations will also be going towards that charity of choice. So for sure, if you have any suggestions, please let us know.
Yes, absolutely.
The one caveat we have is it has to be veteran related.
Yeah. So I mean, we can't give to the toothless children of Mexican American homes. We can't do that.
or what Johnny said this weekend after church.
You're gonna have to remind me, dude, because I've said a lot of things after church.
We get in the car and everything. His church is doing a Christmas for Haiti, and
yes, the Joy Box. Yeah, we're doing. It's kind of like Operation Christmas Child, where you fill a shoebox. Well, we're filling plastic totes, like little shoebox sized plastic totes. They have to be clear containers so that way they can get through customs.
Yeah,
but I'm like, man. Of course, my wife grabs two, one for a boy, one for a girl. My sister-in-law does the same thing, and I'm just like, the hell with them Haitians, man. No, but
no, it wasn't that. It was, I probably made one of those orphans.
Yeah,
because someone was down in Haiti with the army. Of course, they're probably grown now, so they're probably not orphans anymore. They're probably going.
Probably don't remember me. But
are you an orphan after you are a grown adult?
Ask Batman.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Are you though?
We're okay. So, were our picks? Do we want to go back over the picks?
No, the picks are done. We're not. We're
locked in. Yeah,
it's already chiseled in stone.
We should have done it this week, but
you know what? It's fine. I mean,
it jumped the gun a little bit, but
sometimes it's okay to be premature, especially if there's family in the other room. Just kind of putting that out there
because I was looking for highlights all day so we'd have something to talk about.
But
I was seriously looking for highlights all day, and I was trying to figure out why there weren't any highlights for football.
That quality public education on display right there. Why there weren't It sounds like a redneck Mick Jagger because he ain't got no.
I was emphasizing how stupid I was. And then finally, I was like, let me at least look at the scores. So I looked at the NFL. And I was like, week 1, September. Oh, mother.
Yeah, it's always goes full week 1 college football, then NFL jumps in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, welcome, Colin. By the way, I mean, you just kind of jumped in right in the middle of a whole shitstorm. It was kind of funny.
We did well. We did.
So we started off the show. We were explaining the ball game that David and I went to on Friday night. The Astros had a no-hitter going all the way through the 8th inning. So that was kind of cool. And then we got to see Jose Altuve hit a walk-off RBI double. And then we stayed afterward because it was a Friday night game. They had live fireworks. So they opened up the roof and they did this whole fireworks display. Simone Biles and Jordan Chiles was there in person. Simone Biles threw out the first pitch.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So because they were talking about Olympians and everything like that. And I looked at David. I was like, how wild would that be if Simone Biles was here? And the next thing you know, and fresh off her gold medal, blah, 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 Simone Biles throwing out the first pitch. And we were like, no fucking way. That's cool. So
That's awesome.
yeah. And this is still a mystery to me why this dude even bothered to show up, other than the fact that he got a free ticket to the game and field access. But a member of the United States Olympian breakdancing team was there at the game on Friday.
That was still funny.
I'm like, huh.
It's a team that doesn't even exist anymore, right?
Right. I mean, USA break-in, and I'm like, really?
I asked, is like, what sport was that? Breakdancing? No. They would say the whole freaking thing. It's like, no, that's it. They couldn't even say one name.
Yeah.
Fully.
Breaking. Yeah.
It was that.
And I had told David, I was like, I think it was last week. I told him, I said, NBC has completely scrubbed all of their platforms of any footage of Australia's Ray Gun doing her.
No, they did the whole footage of the breakdancing.
Yeah, but it's already out there. Like
that was an epileptic seizure.
It's there.
Yeah, I mean, you can do as much as you want to try to scrub that, but it there's so many videos on X and everywhere else. They made memes and everything. It's like, I can't stop it.
Certain other platforms that are less constrictive in their yeah, you go to any other platform, don't talk shit about that shit all day.
Where are you? I didn't say anything that bad. So, and Colin is smiling too. How bad is the joke? No one else is doing detective work right now, so
I'm you know what? I'm gonna, this is a one-time exception, Colin. You can tell.
I know. Look.
You can go for the joke. I'm conflicted as hell about it, but you can go for it. Okay.
I've drained the Helen Keller hole. No more jokes.
There you go.
Oh wow.
Chip off the old block, Johnny, huh?
Yeah.
Isn't that supposed to go the other way around?
Doesn't matter.
actually, Chris,
I think that's his way of saying that he pumped it dry.
He's there.
Like a baseball.
that is we had like 4 views, and as soon as we said we pumped it dry for Helen Keller jokes, it went down to 1.
Yeah. We were like, fuck this. I'm not getting any Helen Keller material this week.
Oh,
Good.
Look,
Okay.
Clearly,
I
blind
searched-
people didn't like it.
I searched real hard, but it was all the same jokes over and over again.
Okay. Yeah. So college football started this weekend in earnest.
That was a boring game we watched. I would have to say
it was not. We watched Notre Dame at A&M this weekend.
Yeah.
Dude, that game was boring.
Mm-hmm.
What's sad is
for Notre Dame to get that number 7 ranking. I'm like, how? You go up against a number 20 ranked team, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for basically 3 quarters, it was a field goal punter duel.
Yeah.
And
it wasn't up until like I think the 3rd quarter when they realized. I honestly, it was literally the quarterback Reese. That was his name.
Notre Dame's quarterback really kind of just took the game and put it on his shoulders.
Yeah,
and
he literally is like,
yeah, he was the leading rusher for Notre Dame on Saturday night.
Oh, God.
yeah, yes. What was really good about it? One, he succeeded, which it surprised me, and
Yeah,
2, He was the best receiver.
He's the quarterback. He was
He's
the best
both.
running back. He was the best rusher.
Okay. He was the best rusher. Okay.
Yes.
We'll go with that. We'll go with because I think at one point in time, he
horrible
literally
watching David try to
ball.
plug these terms in and make them contextually make sense.
Well, I'm
It's
special.
horrible. But yeah, I mean, dude, the game was just like, ugh. You would think that A&M had it together at one point, and of course, their quarterback, he threw 2 picks, but I'm like, oh, okay. And I mean, don't get me wrong, A&M's going to win their fair share of games this year, but yeah, I mean, there's a joke in Aggie. There's a joke that goes around Aggie land, and that includes the Aggie faithful, is that we do great during the regular season, but they shit the bed during a bowl game. So,
yeah. No, what was really funny is the new way the call the hike, I guess, because I've never seen that.
Okay, so Max, you know what we're talking about, the hard count where you see the quarterbacks clap their hands, and that's just to make the defense flinch, to try to draw them off sides.
Right.
And it worked a couple of times, and then Notre Dame finally settled in, and they were like, okay, we've got his rhythm. And for me, offensively, A&M did not change up their their packages. They didn't change up their looks. They didn't give the defense enough looks, and the defense settled in, figured out what their play pattern was going to be, and ran their defense that way. But I don't know. I mean, the game could have been better. It was the score did not really tell the whole story. It was like 23-13. Notre Dame was the final. So, yeah. I mean, all in all, a 10-point victory for a number 7 team going into a number 20. Granted, yes, they were playing at Kyle Field, which is arguably the hardest place to win a game in college football right now because of the environment, because of the noise.
Right.
But they should have walked away with that game. I mean, they should have. Notre Dame, on paper, should have done to A&M what Florida did to Miami did to Florida. 41-17, right? Yeah, that was an ugly game. I mean, Notre Dame should have done to A&M what Texas did to Colorado State, which was a 52-0 shutout.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, even Arch Manning. What's his damn name? Yeah, Arch, the new Manning. Right. Anyways, he even got a touchdown throw, so he got himself a tutty over the weekend. But I don't know. I mean, there really wasn't a whole lot of upset as I'm scanning over these scores. Of course, the first couple of the college football season, it's, with the exception of a few showcase games, it's really a powder puff schedule for the top 25 teams. And okay, so there's a game that I really want to look at. I don't know who to be more embarrassed for in this particular game. Ole Miss or Furman. Okay. Furman is barely a D1 school. Barely a D1 school. Okay. Ole Miss, top, I mean, they're in a very competitive SEC. I mean, up until this year, they were in a very competitive SEC division, right? But Ole Miss beat the Furman Paladins 76-0 on Saturday.
Yeah, that was a very horrible game. But
I mean, here's how the scoring recap. Here's how the scoring recap broke down. In the first quarter, Ole Miss scored 24 points, 28 in the second, 21 in the third, and then they backed off and let off the accelerator and only scored a field goal in the fourth quarter.
Only.
And I think at that point they had their third stringers in. So yeah.
They had the backup to the practice squad.
I mean, as far as like passing yards, you had Carson Jones, the quarterback for Furman. He was 15 for 25, 119 yards and an interception. Jackson Dart, the quarterback for Ole Miss, 22 of 27, 418 yards, 5 touchdowns.
Oh wow.
Rushing yards, you had Mayon Hicks for Furman. He had 6 carries for 23 yards. Matt Jones for Ole Miss, 3 carries, 68 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, when you're averaging 20 to 22 yards, like 20, maybe like 23 yards a carry. I'm like, damn. Receiving yards, Joshua Harris for
playing
Furman.
against terrible defense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he had 3 receptions for 59 yards. Then you had Trey Harris, the leading receiver for Ole Miss. He had 8 receptions, 179 yards for 2 touchdowns. Yeah. So total yards for Furman, you had 172 passing yards, 140 or 120 or 172 total yards. 146 of that was passing, 26 rushing yards. They averaged 2.7 yards per play. Total offense for Ole Miss was 772. They passed for 529 yards. They rushed for 243, and they averaged a 9.4 average per play.
Look at the Miami versus Florida game that we watched like half of.
Yeah.
And, oh God.
Yeah. Yeah. We went over
we
that a little bit.
Half that game after we got back from the range, and it would Miami whooped their butts.
Mm-hmm. Here's how bad of a season Florida State's going to have. Right now, their game is live. They're playing Boston College at home. And they're trailing 14-6 with 14:34 left in the third quarter. Florida State's still technically ranked number 10 in the nation, even though they lost to unranked Georgia Tech during week 0. So
yeah, it's just ridiculous. That's the reason why I tried to. I in the beginning of this football season, I was like, why don't we look up SEC for just as one of the college team sections and everything? Why don't we just look at then I look at these scores and how they're doing their rankings and everything. I'm like, oh, that's why we don't do it.
Yeah, that's why we don't do that. But
I mean, I like watching the games, some of the games. The most famous game that we always, two of the famous games we talk about throughout the whole college football season. We'll talk about the Air Force Army game. We don't really talk about the Air Force Navy game.
Right.
But in the Army Navy game, that's the only college balls that I said it and I didn't stop myself.
No, you didn't. So I'm gonna throw you a little bit of a lifesaver here. We're gonna back out of football, and before we jump into NASCAR, we're going to have joke time with Colin.
Rising from the smoke and haze of desolation comes a Spartan. He is bent on wronging that which has been set right. It's the greatest genetic code ever to exist. Now, for your ears and eyes to feast upon. Ladies and gentlemen, angry faithful of all ages, it's time for Joke Time with Colin.
I played the wrong intro. I'm sorry.
It works.
You're leading with that one, aren't you, Colin? Okay. All right, let me preface this joke. This joke in no way, shape, form, or fashion reflects the beliefs of the opinions or the emotional leanings of Angry Me Faithful, its participants, or the company as a whole. With that being said, Colin, bring the smoke.
What has 15 arms, 7 legs, 3 feet? The finish line of the Boston Marathon.
Oh, damn. Oh,
Now,
Wow.
he sent this to me, and I was like, as Boston fans, I am very conflicted about this joke.
Right.
I just feel like I had to tell it. Like, it was. I could not tell it.
Now, I'm going to put this out there, son. This is a very slippery slope that you have found the precipice to. Jokes like this are one bad day away from My Chemical Romance telling an entire album's worth of 9/11 jokes. Okay, so just be careful there. Okay. And yes, Bell's going to go off about, well, don't bring My Chemical Romance into it, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I get it.
I need you. I sent you one more. I don't know if I ever told it. That's why I sent it to you. I don't.
Okay,
I don't remember telling it.
Let me look.
Did I ever tell that one?
No, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you call an anorexic blonde with a yeast infection? Quarter pounder with cheese. This last one is my favorite. So
well, hold on just a second. So if she's European and blonde, does that make her a Royale with cheese?
Yeah.
Because it's the metric system.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm.
Oh,
This joke's too funny. Just to make sure, I want to know if I have the green light on this. Because I don't know all the rules.
oh boy.
Use blind people, the deaths.
Go for it. Go for it. Absolutely. Send the smoke, dude.
What do you call getting gonorrhea from a handicapped person? Slow clap.
I can't.
Oh God. Oh
my God.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's
slow clap.
That's all.
Slow clap.
That's it. I'm going on that one.
Brian, spit on me.
Lord Almighty.
Slipping out through the fog of war, this Spartan continues the fight. Your souls have become collateral damage in the battle against the flood of moral supremacy. Leave your expectations at the door on your way out and marvel before the pillar of tactical prowess. Ladies and gentlemen, angry faithful of all ages, this has been Joke Time with Colin.
Yeah.
There was something else. There was something else.
Syphilis.
He should be. He
Yes.
He came proper this week.
Yes, he did. Wow. Okay, so NASCAR news. We have reached the end of the regular season. They had the Cookout 5 or the Southern 500, the Cookout Southern 500 at Darlington. Chase Briscoe sent a Hail Mary. He didn't ride the wall like
Chastain.
Yeah, Ross Chastain. I forget about Watermelon Boy's name, so my Chase Briscoe. He raced his way in. I mean, he made a power move. He dove for the bottom, took the line away from Kyle Larson. Just basically had a better restart. and ended up just kind of pulling away. So he won. He wrapped up the final. I mean, he snagged the final playoff spot. Something that makes me just incredibly happy is by virtue of Chase Briscoe winning to get in, Bubba Wallace fell 5 places and has found himself on the outside of the playoffs looking in.
You
He
love
is not eligible to race for the cup this year. So let me tell for the top 16 drivers in order as they stand going into next week's race at Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Quaker State 400. It is Kyle Larson leading at point. He has got an 8-point advantage over second place Christopher Bell. Tyler Reddick is in third. William Byron in fourth. Ryan Blaney in fifth. Funny thing about William Byron and Ryan Blaney, they're brother-in-laws.
Really?
Yeah. William Byron is married to Ryan Blaney's sister. So there's that.
Fair going on.
Everybody's favorite crybaby Danny Hamlin. He's in 6th place. Chase Elliott is in 7th. Brad Keselowski. Who is this person?
I have no idea. Just keep on going. Person.
Yeah, we're not going to get baited into reading that crap.
Okay.
Yeah. So, because there's a thing like, especially on TikToks, when you do lives, people will type things in the comments, and it on the surface it doesn't look bad, but when you say it out loud, it sounds like you're saying something else.
Here's the thing though. More comments we get, more views we get.
Yeah, hey.
We get, so let them go.
Yeah, you think you're being slick. You think you're being slick, guy, but hey, engagement's the name of the game.
Keep trying to get us to say it.
Yeah. I mean, if you get really, really, really creative,
we don't know if it's your wife or not, and we don't want to
not.
one person.
It's not her, not her at all. One, because my wife knows how to type and speak in proper English, so there's that. Anyways, she doesn't sound like a uneducated Arkansian.
I wonder what that is, though. Just my curiosity, because it looks like.
Don't say it. Don't do it, David. Don't do it.
Okay.
Don't do it.
They want.
It's what they want. Exactly.
This one's pretty simple and pretty easy. There's really nothing about it other than the misspelling of it and what it's supposed to sound like. It's supposed to be presenter. And that's the only one I'm doing.
Same.
Okay. 7th is Chase Elliott. Brad Keselowski is in 8th. Joey Logano in 9th. Austin Cindric is in 10th place. Daniel Suarez is in 11th. You have Alex Bowman in 12th. Chase Briscoe, who again won his way into the chase, is in 13th. Harrison Burton in 14th. Ty Gibbs 15th, and Martin Truex Jr. in his farewell season found his way into the playoffs in 16th. So let me see here, and that's as they stand in the regular season settings, and that is how they play out for this first round of first round of 16. So the cutoff line is at 12. So right now, Alex Bowman is on the cutoff line. Chase Briscoe is in 13th, 14th, Harrison Burton, Ty Gibbs, and then Martin Truex Jr. By virtue of the way that the points and the wins all work themselves out, theoretically, Alex Bowman, Chase Briscoe, and Harrison Burton are in a virtual tie, but by virtue of laps led and finishing position, average finishing positions, Alex Bowman's got the tiebreaker over Briscoe and Burton. So that's why he's in 12th right now, above the cutoff line going into the round of 12. So each round of these playoffs is going to be a 3-race format. And like I said, with the first race of the playoffs, it's going to be this Sunday at 3:00 Eastern time, 2:00 Central. It's the Quaker Steak 400 available at Walmart. It's at Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's going to be on USA. It's also going to be on the Performance Racing Network. It's also going to be on SiriusXM channel 90 or your SiriusXM app. I'm gonna be listening to that race this Sunday on the way home because I've got to drive all the way up to Wichita Falls this weekend. So that is what my Friday and Sundays are going to be comprised of. So yay me. After that, the three races for this particular portion of the playoffs, it's going to be Atlanta, Watkins Glen International, and Bristol Motor Speedway. So Watkins Glen is going to be it's going to be the first of the road races that we're going to see during the playoffs. Bristol's obviously short track. It's most likely going to be a Saturday night race because it is going to take place on the 21st. Yeah, it is going to be a Saturday night race. So that's going to be a kind of a cool race to watch. Mostly because short tracks tend to bring everybody's temper to the surface. And the fact that it's a cutoff race for the next round of the playoffs, you're going to see a lot of guys that are fighting for that, to be above that cutoff line. They're going to be around each other a lot that Saturday night. So just kind of be looking for some beating and banging, possibly somebody getting dumped. We'll see what happens, but it promises to be a pretty competitive playoffs format this year. So, I hope that NASCAR doesn't do what college football's been doing, which is, diluting that playoff field. Now I think that finally with the field of 16 that college football's adopting finally, I think this is going to be probably the best that it's going to get, right? I'm pretty safe saying that, right, Max? So, not a whole lot of news else past that. I know that we did say we were going to do a nerd section this week. I mean,
there's a lot of games that came out. And
Yeah.
we're not gonna
earlier.
make it that long, but I really want to play Squirrels with Guns.
I've been seeing gameplay on that. It looks really freaking hard.
Really?
The controls on it get wonky just because of the scale of it. Like there was one part where the guy had to his squirrel was on water skis and he had to control like a toy boat and pull himself with the skis, and he would just touch the controls and that boat would go pew, pew, pew. Like to get it to go straight was
they got some bugs to work out, right? So they're going to release, like every other developer, they're going to release a broken game, and then day one it's going to have like a 2 gig patch.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, realize also though that these guys are an indie developer too, aren't they?
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's the reason why it's only a 2 gig patch.
Right.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call that a bug or a glitch.
Mm-hmm.
It just needs some tweaking on the controls.
So yeah, David, when he showed up on Friday, my original Xbox was in pieces. I had taken it completely apart to clean it from the inside out. Yeah. And then it dawned on me, like, I've got this big, huge, like freaking SATA drive, right? 8 gigs.
Yeah. Yeah. We were talking about that.
And I'm sitting there going, man, I'm like, how hard would it be to put like an SSD in there and flash it with the firmware? I mean, even at like, I don't know, 256 gig, which is probably, I think, the smallest solid state drive you can get anymore nowadays. I mean, that's more than enough room for every save file you could possibly want, along with a digitized version of the entire Xbox library.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Pretty much.
man.
Have you guys started watching the Call of Duty Black Ops 6 stuff?
I downloaded it.
I
Now,
haven't
initially
reloaded this,
they
but
said that this was supposed to be like a massive game, but then it broke down where they were like, "Hey, you know, it is only going to be massive if you have the other like the other games, the Modern Warfare 2 and
They're what they're doing is they're downsizing how much space the other Call of Duty takes up.
Okay, so they're compressing those. All right.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I downloaded it.
Like I
I'm
said,
go
I
ahead.
didn't get into the like the multi because they did the open beta for the multiplayer this weekend.
Mhm.
I'm only interested in just doing the campaign. Once I do
I've
the
been
campaign, I'm
playing
probably gonna take it off.
I've been playing the multiplayer. It's
What do you
pretty
think?
good. There's things they need to fix, like every Call of Duty.
Of course, and they won't.
Sure.
No. My biggest thing is the whole human shield aspect. And
It's
you
so
can
fun.
mic up with the other person.
It's so much fun.
And they are already having videos of people that are miking up and grabbing a guy and using him as a human shield and like, you smell good.
There's this one map with showers, and I keep seeing videos of guys grabbing the other guy and taking him to the showers and like, twerk is fun.
You stink so good.
So here, don't you dare assume who she's going to pick for her papa. Is it going to be me or Van Milder here? Oh, I can do that to mildly punch the fourth wall. The proposal.
I'm liking this new movement a lot.
What movement?
It adds so much, like, one of my favorite things about this new movement is every time you walk up to a corner, your character leans.
Oh, that's not good. Well,
What do you mean? What do you mean that's not good?
Hey, no. You're absolutely right. Okay. In the game, how it used to play, yeah, you could stare at a wall and still be able to see down the hallway. But now, if your character leans, it's more realistic. I get that.
And it's like you have to be like almost like right up against the wall. So it's not like it's like every single.
I used to love those videos. Guys would remember when PUBG was like huge, right?
Yeah.
And you see these guys that are doing like live action spoof videos of PUBG.
Yeah.
Dude, like he was, you know, because the whole game's from third person, right?
Yes.
The whole game is in third person view, right? So like he's got a buddy and they're up behind this car, and he's like, "Where's he at?" And he's like, "I don't know. Hold on a minute." And then you see him kind of like pivoting here and there. He's like, what are you doing? I can see him. He's over there. He's like,
right. He's like, look at this way, but he's
he's like,
like, how are you seeing that? The best ones are like the Red Dead logic or the Skyrim logic, where it's like, oh, we need to, my horse is back in the stable, and he's like, just pull him out of your pocket. He's like, my what pocket? Your horse pocket. He's like, am I supposed to just pull him out? 1,500-pound animals.
Like Link and whistle.
Have you ever?
Oh my God! What are you not getting about this?
Have you ever seen those PUBG videos where the guys are getting like shot at, and they like look at their map and are like, he's right there, so I gotta shoot this high, and like they hit him like straight in the head, and it's the most ridiculous thing ever.
One of those guys was
never be good enough at a video game to be able to do that. It will never happen.
One of the guys in those videos was in Avatar, right?
Yeah. Rowan.
Yeah. Well, here's my thing. Okay. Like with the Zelda games, you whistle for your horse, right? It doesn't matter where you're at. As long as you're outside, you could be in the shittiest place. Hold on. And you could be in the shittiest place possible. Whistle for your horse and the horse shows up, right? Knowing that you left your horse in a very safe area, but it didn't take that horse any time at all to get to where you're at. I want to know what that horse knows.
That's a lie. In Breath of the Wild, number one, you can't ride your horse in the desert. You have to be close enough to it, unless it has the ancient armor. And your horse can die in Breath of the Wild.
Okay, most Zelda games.
And when it comes to Ocarina of
You know
Time,
what?
you have to learn. You have to learn the.
Just
what's
let this be fun for me.
What's the stupid horse's name in Ocarina of Time? You have to learn the
What
song
you've
for
just
that.
said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Hmm.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response.
You know which game I'm actually excited for, and this is you guys. I'm probably gonna catch some flack for this because it's very dorky, but it comes out on Game Pass tomorrow, and that's the Space Trucker. I have been waiting for this game.
You know what? I've been looking at that, and I'm like, ooh.
Dude, I've been watching a lot of video play.
But I downloaded all the free DLC for Power Wash Simulator, though.
Listen,
dude, the Shrek DLC when it comes out,
that's gonna keep you busy for a while. That's
well, I'm working my way through the Muckington files right now, and I just got done cleaning the satellite dish or the satellite array, and so now I'm working on the solar power plant. Yeah,
fair.
Okay,
I downloaded Midgar so that way I can clean Cloud's motorcycle.
oh,
Nice.
there's one game that I can't wait for it to come out, and it was on the day one Game Pass thing. The Expedition 33 game that's supposed to be coming to Game Pass. It looks so cool. It's a turn-based game, I think, but it's like magic.
Yeah. See, now if you want to help the older guys with their gaming experiences so we can stay on par with Colin, feel free to message us personally on Facebook Messenger, or if you have our phone numbers, text us the code to gift cards for various consoles. I mean, that'd be pretty preem right there.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just kind of saying. I mean, wouldn't be.
Next Gundam game that's coming out looks pretty cool.
I can't wait to see some stuff for the Borderlands 4.
Yep.
I mean, as long as they don't as long as Borderlands 4 doesn't go all Sigma like Borderlands 3 did.
It was.
I like Borderlands 3.
Wait, Colin, did I use Sigma in the proper context?
No, and never say that word again.
It was okay-ish.
It's not all rizzed up enough to do that.
Yeah, I mean,
it just the DLCs were lacking for me. Because that was the whole thing with like Borderlands 2 was the DLCs. Because you had the Torg one and Tiny Tina's Magic Castle.
Dude, Tiny Tina is probably one of my favorite characters of all Borderlands.
And they ruined the whole thing in Borderlands movie. There's actually a video.
I mean, it's not like the Borderlands movie went gangbusters. It only lasted a week in the theater. So,
yeah. What's strange is they made a video. It's like, who's the main people that made Borderlands?
Gearbox.
And well, they had a video where the president of Gearbox is like, the movie that we made tanked. It's horrible. I was like, yeah, but what are our sales on Borderlands right now? Well, they're through the roof. And the DLCs, well, they're through the roof. You made a horrible movie so people would start playing the game. Yeah. You and then you think about it. It's like that episode off of King of the Hill where she goes into the room. She describes the whole room as is like, oh, everything's white, black, and red, just like the Nazis. And your friend looks at you like, oh my God, oh my God, she's absolutely right. Oh my God. And both of our heads are exploded. And it makes sense. How many good video game movies have there been?
You
Sonic
know what's funny
movies?
about that statement is David and I we got in the car on Saturday to go to the range, and I'm sitting. I get into his car, and I'm bear in mind, David drives a Volkswagen.
Yeah,
but we
the
like
interior of his car is mostly black, white, and red.
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah.
We remember their years between 1939 and 1945.
Yes.
Volkswagen People's automobile.
Yeah, the people's car.
And it's pretty sad that
There's
when,
at least 4 or more good video game movies.
The
yeah,
best
there's
one as of late.
plethora of video game movies, and there's only like a couple. I mean, even the TV series. You got Fallout, and you got what was the other one that was really good? Oh, The Last of Us.
Last
Yeah.
of Us versus
There's
Fallout. I'll take
the-
Last of Us.
There's the Super Mario Brothers TV show. So
I mean, yeah, that introduced America to the term Paisan.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I mean, yeah. Well, the more recent,
The
Super
series,
Mario Brothers movie, the animated one, that one, great. It had
true,
so
that
many,
was
like,
actually really good.
had so many good little like references.
And they used to like put in codes and stuff for the game.
Yeah,
I'm so
the Fallout
excited
series
for
on
the.
Amazon is just so good.
I'm so excited for Keanu Reeves' Shadow the Hedgehog.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah. I mean, usually when you go video game to movie adaptation, it's not that bad, with the exception of an entire franchise. We're looking at you, Resident Evil.
Hey, listen, the first Resident Evil movie is not completely
Yeah,
terrible.
it wasn't, chunk
Okay.
everything into your butt.
Fair enough.
This new one made no sense.
But when you go the other way, when you go from video game to movie adaptation, when you go from movie to video game, horrible.
Even the first
With
Hitman.
the noted exception.
Deadpool video game?
Yeah, I
Hit-
mean, well, Deadpool was not based on a movie on the movie
Okay.
franchise. It was based on the IP itself.
GoldenEye.
Well, yeah,
was
but
the
like,
exception.
Yeah, GoldenEye was the one exception.
And Mad Max.
Oh yeah,
True.
I know.
Mad
Not
Max is
necessarily
actually
based on. I mean, it's based on the lore more than it is on Mel Gibson's character.
Yeah, but in my opinion, my humbled, illiterate opinion, it is canon when it comes to Mad Max. It's right there for this particular genre of
in that the story in that game as it plays out is considered canon.
Yes.
In that universe, but it's not based off of the movies, and that's the point that I'm trying to make is that
Okay.
the movies, the games that are based off of the movies, horrible. I mean, just absolute dog water. I mean, case in point, I mean, you look at
What about the old NES Batman game?
I mean, even then, it was made by Sunsoft, and Sunsoft. I mean, dude, there's a reason why that studio is not around anymore. Okay,
It was halfway decent.
What about ET on Super Nintendo?
ET on Atari, you mean?
Or Atari, there you go.
I mean, you want a game. The only notable games that were based off of movies that remotely had any kind of success, like the Super Star Wars on Super Nintendo. But that game was so glitchy. I think that it became popular because of the glitch, right?
Yeah.
The glitches. Like if you hit a certain sequence of buttons, it wasn't necessarily like a cheat code, but it enabled a God mode where you could like walk through the floors.
Someone was saying the Wolverine game.
Yeah, but it wasn't based on.
that
any
hasn't even come out yet.
movies. No.
They were the Wolverine game.
Original Xbox Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the new one.
Yeah. Oh,
was- that was actually
yeah.
really
Yeah,
good.
the Wolverine game. Yeah, the one. Yeah, because I mean, it's based off the X-Men franchise. Because I mean, that's Hugh Jackman on the cover. But
Yeah.
See, it wasn't necessarily
He
on
even did the voice of a Wolverine, so it makes sense.
the Punisher game was actually pretty good too. But again, that was more based on comics. Yeah, it had Thomas Jane voice in him, but it
yeah,
wasn't
it's more based off of the
necessarily
IP. We're talking about games like Judge Dredd. You know, a horrible game. Hunter of the Red October. Now,
The
Hunter of the Red October on the original NES, dude, that game holds a soft spot in my heart just because that was like the first quote unquote AAA title back then, back in the 90s, that my mom and dad had bought for me after we got the NES. And you know, it took me a month to beat it. I mean, it played like your traditional side scroller. I mean, it was 8 bits. I mean, they were kind of limited as to what they could do. But the one thing, and this is this is the only reason why this game falls into that category of just absolute trash movie adaptations, is the screens that you got for the game over and the screen that you got for beating the game are exactly the same. Exactly the same. You see the life preserver ring float to the top and it just says game over. That's it. Like it took me a month and like pulling my hair out because you know there was no save files on that game, so you had to start at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
So it took me a month to finally just kind of figure out the timing and the patterns and everything. Like it took me a month to get through that game. And when I beat the game, my mom and dad, from that point on, we're not buying you games anymore. We're going to rent them. Okay, so Gran Turismo,
video game.
that was a movie adaptation of a true life story based off of something that happened because of the video game. So it's not like they took the video game and said, "Hey, we're going to put a story to it."
The Rocketeer video game.
The Gran Turismo movie happened in real life.
Yeah.
Who framed Roger Rabbit?
No. The N64 adaptation of Superman Returns.
No,
That was
the Rocketeer video game
awful.
pissed me off when I played.
That was unplayable.
What they
because
call them?
the Rocketeer video game for the NES.
I've got that. I've got a copy of that still.
Yeah, I know that game is stupid because of how hard it is. So
Well, I beat it. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
There's a reason.
What's funny is that like we've got these 8-bit games from back in the day that like we just absolutely killed when we were kids, and now that when we try to go back and play them on their original consoles, like that shit is hard, dude.
Well, there's a reason for it. There's a reason for all those games back then being that hard. Was rental studios or Blockbuster, Hollywood Video, and stuff like that.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
The main example is that Dolphin game, Echo. That game was almost unbeatable. And they made it that way so you would have to go in and re-rent it until Max Payne Uncharted. Okay. The movies to the video game? Or the
the Max Payne movie was awful.
Yeah,
Uncharted wasn't.
The Uncharted.
Yeah, Uncharted was a good movie.
Yeah,
Uncharted
was, and I think that we're getting it mixed up here. We're talking about on the awful scale. It is the movies exist, but then they're going to make a game based off of the movie, not the other way around.
I would like to mention the Final Fantasy VII movie, Advent Children.
That was all right. I mean,
not okay. The music in that movie, beautiful, awesome. Has the best version of Sephiroth's theme. The movie itself, not so much. The fights, like the Sephiroth and Cloud fight, amazing. The writing for that movie is so mid-battle. Cloud flashes back to Tifa saying "dilly dally, shilly shally."
Okay, yeah, I could see
now,
that.
There is that Final Fantasy movie that came out. I think it was the late 90s, early 2000s. If I remember, it was called The Power Within. The whole movie was CGI.
No, you're thinking of Spirit Within.
Spirit Within, yes, thank you.
Had Alec Baldwin voicing one of the characters, right?
Yeah.
And David Sutherland.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Truth YouTube. Okay.
It depends
Star Wars
on the game.
franchise.
Depends on the game.
I
The original
well,
Battlefront game.
I think just in contextually, when we're talking about franchises that turned into video games, as opposed to the other
But
way
it's
we've been
not
looking
just
at it. And
right.
the
We're not
franchise was
talking. We're not
based
talking
on the-
because with the Star Wars universe of games, you've got games like Knights of the Old Republic, Jedi Outcast,
Okay, you're not-
Jedi Academy.
You also remembering. You also got to remember the first NES games for Star Wars.
Yeah, but what
The
we're
original
talking
Battlefront.
about specifically, as far as like awfulness, is you've got the movie, and then you got the games that are based on the movie. Like they take the
Directly
script
on
from
that
the movie, and they try to go one for one movie to game, and it never, ever works out.
Like if you're gonna talk about Star Wars, you could talk about the movie tie-ins with like the episode 3 third person adventure game there, and they also did one for the Phantom Menace.
Yeah,
Why didn't they do
or
one for
whatever.
Episode 3 was not that bad. It wasn't terrible. It was decent.
The
Why
original-
didn't they do one about the holiday special?
How do you put a piece of shit?
Because
on
unlike 1930s,
as a
1940s Germany, the meth budget for the studios was not that high.
Okay.
Yeah,
Tin.
how do you?
I mean, when Harrison Ford
play a piece of
successfully
shit.
blocks that from his memory, to
Oh,
my
yeah,
knowledge, I think Harrison Ford had the holiday special removed from his IMDb listing.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't want to be attached to that thing either.
No, I mean, because anytime somebody asks him about that in an interview, he goes, "What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about."
Yep.
Like he disavows having any involvement with that.
As well, he should.
I love the Robot Chicken version of that skit where it's like, you know, Han gets to meet Chewie's family. Like, you know, the door opens and they're all wearing clothes.
So you've been naked this whole
You've been
time?
naked this whole time. And Chewie's like, "I love you."
It's like they're all talking normal. Turns out he's like fucking Down syndrome the whole time.
Roman gay.
Yes. Oh, it's fantastic.
Okay, here's some good movies. Alien Isolation is a really good game. It's based off the Alien movies.
Based off of the movies. We're not talking about
not an
hey,
adaptation
we're gonna take the idea and create its own universe, or we're gonna add to the canon by writing a good story for the game.
Because
We're
you're not
talking
basing
about-
it off the whole universe. It's off of that
It's
specific.
off of that particular movie.
Right.
It's called the best
Yeah.
one already when you said GoldenEye. That was, I mean, that took
Yeah.
it. That's
Yeah,
Hands down. That is the gold standard.
yeah,
Yes.
that is the gold standard.
Now, one game I did enjoy, it was a Bond game. I think it was,
World is not enough.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or it was like it was like you're playing through a movie, but it wasn't like an official Bond movie.
Well, they had. Oh no, you're talking about. It came out. Oh, what was it? Secret Agent. Something like that. Because it came out in.
Agent Under Fire.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Set in the Bond universe, and it was supposed to be like a playable movie. Yes, but
Yeah.
it wasn't
then-
tied into any specific James Bond movie.
If we're
Now-
talking about games that are based off the movies, like not like directly copied, almost all the Lego movies for a good portion of
They're
the
not.
Lego movies.
I don't think
The,
that.
Le- the Lego video games.
Okay.
The Lego video games.
I don't think you could base those off the movie.
Yeah.
The
Sure, I
Star
mean,
Wars
Added to them a lot and embellished on them, but
Star Wars Lego video games. They're pretty much a
Yeah,
good
those are
copy
really
of it.
fun though.
I'll allow that because
Yeah.
it is true. It's not so much that it was, and that's the thing is like, do you go for? I mean, are you going for a shot for shot remake of the movie, or are you going for playability? If it is it fun to play, and does it stay true? Kind of like it has the spirit, I guess, of the movie. I'd say absolutely those
function type thing.
Right.
Yeah. Because they got like DC, they got Marvel, they got it's a plethora of Lego movies.
Right.
Well, I think that's where a lot of the studios fall into that trap, is that when they're doing a video game adaptation, is that they're trying to just do a shot for shot remake of the movie where you're playing through the movie. And it's like, I can go watch the movie. I don't need that.
That is true.
Now now along the lines of James Bond games based off specifically one for one from the movies, yes, there is GoldenEye, but the one game that I truly enjoyed as far as like storyline was concerned was From Russia with Love.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they recreated the movie chronologically from opening shot to end credits, and you played your way through the movie.
Yeah.
And Sean Connery did the voice of James Bond for the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that game was so good. Because it came out for the GameCube, the PS2, the original Xbox, and I think PSP. But oh, dude, it was so good. And then I mean, you've got there was one. It was James Bond 007, Everything or Nothing, and it was based off of the Pierce Brosnan Bond. But it was a story, but it was never a movie, but it was a Bond story. That game was actually really enjoyable.
Right.
Well, this guy has a point. This guy has a point though. The Beavis and Butthead, South Park,
Okay.
Yeah,
South
the
Park
games were amazing. They took
South Park video games.
That was a good way to do those interpretations there, because you're taking the concept of an arc within the cartoon itself, and then you expanded upon it so that you weren't necessarily doing a shot for shot remake, but you took the concept of the episodes and then made it
a footnote and made a story arc out of it.
Correct.
Yeah,
that
was
the correct way to do it.
When you do it like that, that's great.
Yeah. And they did them brilliantly.
Yeah, but
you know what?
The horrible ones, with the exception of maybe a couple.
Yeah.
The horrible game adaptations are when they try to do the one for one. And that's the one that I have the problem with, because it's like, okay, to me, that's where you get these studios that I mean, they're behind schedule for their AAA projects. Oh, you've got this movie that's coming out. Here, we're going to do a game based on this movie, but we're not going to watch the movie before we make the game.
Right.
You have the vice versa on that too, because look at, I mean, one of the worst video game movie adaptations, not including Super Mario Brothers, but Double Dragon.
Double Dragon was based not on the game itself; it was based on the IP.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And before anybody in the comment sections has a chance to pipe up about it.
And he froze. He was trying to make it.
Back in the days when we had WrestleMania and Double Dragon and WrestleMania were always backed up. And look at Johnny's face. He knows I'm right. That's why he's not saying anything right now.
The second monitor just.
Thanks, Chad. We love you guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's hilarious.
Hold on.
I'm going to make an argument against all the stuff that you've been saying. Oh, really?
There we go.
There we go.
Are you sure he's going to let you have that argument? Or are you just going to put it underneath the rug?
What argument? What are we talking about?
Well, whatever you're saying. I don't even know what you're saying now. We were talking about
recording, and then my monitor fucking crapped out on me, and
Yeah.
My Ethernet adapter is attached to the monitor, so I'm like,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
all right.
Well,
So
here's another thing. Have you ever played the arcade version for the Simpson games, the South Park game? Well, even Beavis and Butthead, well, I think this person is talking about those games.
yeah, but those are stories within the IP. There are stories that are within the established universe.
No, the
They're
arcade
not-
games.
The arcade games.
The arcade games were just like they were all over back in the day because the Marvel had one for the Avengers, the X-Men. They were basically all the same game, but you have different characters.
Yeah, they were all side scrollers and they were semi-fighter games. Yeah.
Yeah. That's I mean, those all are basically the same game.
What are the names for those games? They're called platformers.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. I didn't know they had a name.
Yeah. I mean,
There's
different
platformers and then there's 2D platformers.
Yeah, then there's 2D. So I think specifically you're talking about the 2D platformers because like the original X-Men game that was an arcade game, it was a side scroller from left to right, and you could tag in. You could pick between two of the different mutants, and then you could tag in. Like one was sucking, so you could hit the tag in button, and then like if you're playing as Wolverine,
No. Those are the fighting games.
No, there was the 2D platformer did the same thing.
I mean, the arcades, and we had games like we had Double Dragon, we had WrestleMania, we had Street Fighter.
Well, okay. On the console, you had like Homer right here, Marge right here. Do it on the thing. You had like Homer right here, Marge right here, Bart right here, and Lisa over here. You had to choose which controller to go to. And that's the character you play throughout the whole game. Those types of games. Because they made them for like Simpsons. They made them for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They did it for South Park, Beavis and Butthead too. All those games. But yeah, it's basically the same concept of what we've been talking about, but in reverse with just the video games. I mean, you had a great IP with South Park, Beavis and Butthead, Simpsons, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Those games were kind of fun. I mean, I wasted a shit ton of quarters off of those.
I'm playing as Donatello or Michelangelo or Leonardo, and then you switch it up and go back, and now you're all of a sudden Raphael. And I mean, it was cool.
That was the arcade too. But yeah, I was Michelangelo. He had like the best long defense. That and Donatello.
I mean, but they were all fun to play with, and it was cool to switch them up and be able to do things. But there again, that whole arcade experience, some of the younger generation will never have that chance to live that. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I am, but that was awesome. That was like, bam.
Yeah.
Had a whole little nerd community right there in one place.
It came out when I was in the Army, but Die Hard had an arcade game.
Yes, it did.
When you went up the building,
and it was he went up the elevator shaft, and you had to dodge falling helicopters and elevators. And I'm like,
oh yeah,
when did that fucking occur? I mean, what did I miss that scene? Like what the fuck, dude?
That's. I mean, I know we said that we didn't want him doing a shot for shot remake of the movie, but you also want to have something at least related to the movie in there.
Yeah,
well, I mean,
embellish and make stuff up. Like, don't.
Yeah, there's certain titles, certain IPs, they don't need game adaptations, and vice versa. They don't need live action adaptations.
We're
looking at Dragon Ball Revolution, but
what about the T2 arcade?
There's this one Dragon Ball movie. It was live action, and Goku's in like high school or something.
That was horrible. Yeah, that was a horrible movie.
Dragon Ball Revolution, right?
Was that Revolutions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the only live action they did. I mean, I to its credit, I think it lasted a month longer than Borderlands did in the theater.
Yeah.
Could have been the Death Note.
I'm not even Dragon Ball Z fan or Dragon Ball fan that much, but I felt the hurt.
I like Dragon Ball a lot. I have manga, so
Yeah, we're good and fine with that. But what the hell, man?
I mean,
balls for those.
I'll tell you here. How about this one?
a
One
good
that's actually
well, no, a good portion of the Dragon Ball Z movies just aren't canon. So
the
Yeah,
smartest
see,
company of
and
them
that's,
all,
that's
though.
one thing too.
Geniuses.
That's an argument that I love getting into, especially being a Star Trek fan. It's like, what's canon, what's not canon, what's alpha canon, what's beta canon, and you know it. Okay, so like case in point, that is a where you get a lot of the fan base. They write fiction that's better than what the studios are producing. Like there's a fan made Star Trek movie coming out. It's called Farragut Forward, and it's got a lot of the studio actors that have played established Star Trek canon characters, and they're being brought in. And then there was a Star Trek fan movie called Of Gods and Men, or of Gods and Men, and I mean it had like Nichelle Nichols in it.
Oh yeah, it had like well-known actors in it.
Yeah, I mean it had the actual actors playing their parts in this movie, and CBS Studios dropped the absolute hammer on this. Unless you've got a hard copy of it somewhere, or you can find a pirated digital copy of it, it's nowhere to be found.
Yeah, it was the same with that that Power Rangers fan film that came out a bunch of years ago, and it had
with Bryan Cranston in it.
No, it was James Vanderbeek and
oh yeah.
Remember that one?
It was fan fiction, and it was fan made, and it was dark as shit, dude.
Yeah, it was awesome, and they kibosh on that quick. But it got really dropped. It was in the early days.
The fan hammer on it hard.
It was in the early days of YouTube, and they absolutely just wiped it off the map.
I mean, it was killing. I mean, it was probably it was one of the first, like the more highly monetized videos on YouTube in the early days.
Yeah.
And then Saban came out, was like, no. Nay.
There's this thing now because of that Star Trek video, is it can be fan made, because a lot of fans make fan fiction, especially with videos and everything, but it has to there's laws now of how much you can use the IP as free. Like it has to be under 30 minutes. It can't be more than 30 minutes. It can't have the actors that are portraying in those movies, because some of them were like, you know what? I always wanted to try that. Let's go ahead and try that. And you're paying me this much? Yeah. Let's see how it goes. You can't be a legitimate actor within the franchise that they're using.
There's a web series out there. Yeah, there's a web series out there called Star Trek Continues. And I know I'm going to butcher this guy's name. Vic Magnolia. Anyways, I met him at a Comic-Con like years ago, and he still does it. And James Doohan's son plays the role of Scotty on that show. Star Trek Continues had Grant Imahara from Mythbusters. He played Sulu on Star Trek Continues. Because he was a huge Trek nerd, and he was like, "Oh yeah, this is great." And they actually had the backing of CBS Studios, because it was taking place in the original series era. They were continuing the voyages, like the last 2 years of the 5-year mission, because the original series, when it was on TV, it only ran for 3 seasons before it got canceled. So there was like a 2-year gap there, and so they were. They came to CBS Studios like, hey, we want to do this. We want to do those last 2 years. We want to put this on YouTube, kind of a thing. And CBS Studios was on board with it. They provided them with a lot of the blueprints and specs for the sets and stuff like that. And of course, James Doohan's son came on and was playing the part of Scotty. And I mean, there was some cool stuff. Like I said, I met this Vic guy at a Comic-Con. You know, I was like, hey, can I get my picture taken with the captain of the Enterprise? And he was like, oh, absolutely. You know, because it was just, for me, it was kind of cool. You know, and it was also, honestly, it was one of those rub your face in it kind of moments, because my brother is like a huge Trekkie, right? And he didn't make this trip up to Oklahoma City. And I sent him the picture. I was like, I just got my picture taken with Captain Kirk. You know, it was one of those deals. So it's kind of like a nanny boo boo moment.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was kind of cool though. And I'm like, man, all right, I can get down with that. But it's I like a lot of the fan fiction, but as far as like what's canon versus beta canon, alpha canon, unlike Star Wars, which Star Wars kind of invites chaos this way, and they said if it's written or drawn, it's canon. Like,
well, that was with
it has to go through Disney's continuity
Well,
department.
no. Beforehand, it had to do the same thing. It had to go through George Lucas.
yeah, but they weren't necessarily like, oh well, that
And he liked the imagination of all that stuff.
yeah, he did.
There was no set. Basically, George Lucas was the harbinger of all things canon. If he said it was canon, it was canon. That was it. Whether it was in fanfic, if it was put in the Star Wars Insider magazine, whatever. If George Lucas signed off on it, it was canon.
Yeah.
But
Now,
that still led to a lot of arguments.
Yeah, and as far as what's canon for the Star Trek universe, I'm kind of sitting there going, who dictates what? And and then there was one like glaring rule that was out there. It was like it had to appear on screen for it to be considered canon, right? So like season 3 of Picard, you see the Enterprise F, coming out of space dock.
Canon.
It's now canon, but the Odyssey class starship that the Enterprise F is based on was an original concept created by a fan in the Star Trek Online game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so they were like, hey, we need to, figure out what ship gets the Enterprise moniker after E disappeared, which everybody knows it was not Worf's fault. But
or what the one from Enterprise TV series, the USS Enterprise, what was like
the NX-01,
the one that was like from the future.
Oh, the Enterprise J.
Yeah.
No, we don't talk about that. Yeah, technically, and here's how I think that they're going to get around this. Okay, because the Enterprise J, which was designated as a universe class starship, was from a timeline in the 33rd or 32nd or 33rd century, right? And anybody who pays any kind of attention to the way that television quantum physics work, right, is that nothing future is set in stone. You can't go back and change the past, but nothing in the future is set in stone because events are constantly evolving, right? I think that it's possible that while the Enterprise J technically is canon at this point, and is considered the furthest bookend of the Enterprise lineage line right now, I think there, if it's done properly, and I say done properly because we all know how executives in Hollywood seem to think they've got their finger on the pulse of what the fan base wants. I think that it's possible that they can retcon the existence of the Enterprise J. So, they can just Thanos snap it out of existence by writing a good story arc. Like, when 7 of 9 took over command of the Enterprise G at the end of Picard season 3, everybody immediately wanted Star Trek Legacy. We wanted to see the adventures of Picard's son and 7 of 9 and the Enterprise G. We wanted to see Geordi's daughter piloting that starship. And with Q jumping into Jack's quarters at the end of the series, we're like, oh, Q's already in it. Absolutely. Right. So what does Paramount Studios say? Oh, instead of going Star Trek Legacy, we're going to stick with the disgusting Discovery storyline, and we're going to start with Starfleet Academy, based in the 32nd century. You know, all post-burn stuff, and it's like, why are we doing that? Because I mean, the way that the Discovery storyline went, it's just kind of like it doesn't make any like chronological sense as to where it plugs in. Like, you've got this advanced technology before the Enterprise, and then the Enterprise is introduced, but then it's a different visualization or conceptualization of what the original Enterprise looked like. And then you get into the whole, and this is why I don't like the idea of multiverses or timelines, because it just allows for the introduction of lazy writing, and it almost kind of like makes it normalizes lazy writing, right? It's almost kind of like it puts a big magnifying glass on the fact that the entertainment industry as a whole is just nothing more than just a manufacturing line. And we rarely see any well-written stories for established franchises anymore. They just keep regurgitating things, you know, like episode 4 for Star Wars was basically episode 7 with less steps.
It's like these studios have gotten now where it's almost each generation they have to reboot and restart everything, the whole thing. And they don't have to. Like these stories are crafted and they stand by themselves.
Yeah. I mean, you look at,
it's fine, but there's no need to reboot everything every generation. You
look at season 1, toward the end of season 1 of Star Trek, the original series, you had Space Seed, which is the introduction of Khan, right? And then they don't reboot that story. They continue the storyline in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan.
Mm-hmm.
And then what do? Into Darkness. Oh, we're gonna reboot the entire Khan storyline, but it's in a different timeline, so it's okay. We can tell the story differently. No, nobody wants to see that. I mean, we really don't. I mean, where you take the roles of Spock was supposed to be the one that dies, saving the Enterprise.
Yep.
Right. You know, we're supposed to see Kirk during the funeral scene going, during all of my travels, out of all the souls that I've encountered, his was the most human, right? That's the way it's supposed to play out. And, you know, instead we've got, we're going to take a blood sample from Khan that somehow got knocked unconscious by Spock because he goes all aggro on Khan, you know?
Yeah.
And we're going to take a blood sample from Khan. We're going to stick it in Kirk, and now all of a sudden Kirk is an augmentee. But if you look at the way that they write Starfleet regulations in the canon universe, genetic augmentation is banned.
Right.
So does that now make Kirk ineligible for Starfleet service? I mean, it's a huge plot hole that they've written into it.
It's even worse than that, because they have the same thing going with is the Star Trek First Contact, or not First Contact, but New Worlds part of that canon?
Star Trek Strange New Worlds it's supposed to, I honestly, I think it takes place in an alternate timeline. I think it takes place in the Discovery timeline, because for starters, the security officer on the Enterprise is a descendant of Khan.
Yeah.
Okay. Nowhere in the Prime timeline did we ever discuss genetic descendants of Khan or the augmentees, the genetically enhanced humans.
That's true. They never really went into
it. Yeah. So I mean, the whole reason for the eugenic wars was, you know, this group of super soldiers, so to speak, rose up and took over the world. Khan being the one who he ruled over a quarter of the earth by himself. but I hear there's two different arguments as far as Strange New Worlds is concerned. One, that it takes place in the prime timeline, which I'm like, I'm okay a little bit. The storylines and the way that they present modern day issues within that show, I like the way that they do it a lot. It's almost like they're kind of like on par with season 3 of The Orville. Do you remember how Seth MacFarlane would address things like transgender and sexual orientation, and like women's rights, things like that? He did it in such a manner on The Orville that it was like, it's not in your face, hey, we're going to lean one way or the other. It did a very good job of telling those, giving points of view from both sides of the spectrum without it trying to, it was more or less presented in the format of giving you the information to make the decision yourself. Right.
Yeah.
Strange New Worlds, for the most part, is doing that. I'm as far as like what timeline does it occur in? I think it's an alternate timeline. It's not a Kelvin timeline by any stretch. Thank God, because the whole unnecessary zoom ins and camera lens flares. No, I'm not.
It's J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, it's not the Abrams verse or anything like that. Like at the end of Star Trek Beyond, they introduce the Enterprise A, but yet they're still in the original series, supposed to be in the original series era. The Enterprise A didn't get introduced in the prime timeline until after the events of Star Trek 4.
Yeah.
When they went back in time, got the whales, and then came back and saved the Earth from the probe. But, I like, and as far as the Kelvin timeline movies are concerned, I'm kind of sort of glad that they're not going to come out with a fourth one. Everybody keeps talking about, Star Trek 4, it's happening. No, it's not, because they can't ever agree on anything. And then you've got the union rules for the Screen Actors Guild, where once you've started a movie that makes over a certain amount of money, you're considered an A-list actor at that point. And by union rules, you have a minimum that you're supposed to be, paid to appear in a movie. Right. But so Chris Hemsworth and Chris Pine, and now Zoe Saldana are, even Simon Pegg. Yeah, Simon Pegg. Yeah, I guess he's an A-list actor, but and Carl Urban. You got a bunch of A-list actors now that, like, the budget for that movie would just.
Carl Urban was already an A-list actor.
Yeah, but Chris Pine wasn't.
Yeah,
it was Chris Hemsworth. Okay.
Yeah, Chris Hemsworth
was absolutely unknown. That was his first movie.
Was that his first movie?
No, that wasn't his first. That was the first.
That was his first appearance. Well, yeah, that's what I mean. That was his first American movie appearance.
I'm curious.
Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to go
after this. We'll go ahead and
we'll go ahead and land the plane. So yeah, but
I'm curious about that.
I like the way that Simon Pegg portrays Scotty. Love it. I love his version of Montgomery Scott.
Mm-hmm.
But keep him out of the writer's room. Can we do that, please? Let him stick to what he knows, which is comedy and the Cornetta saga. Because they're him and Nick Frost are supposed to be getting together to write a new Cornetta movie. So it's going to be, instead of a trilogy, Shaun of the Dead, World's End, and Hot Fuzz. There's going to be a fourth movie now.
Interesting.
So I'm like, okay, do that. If you're going to write that.
Fuzz is the best.
Is Edgar Wright going to be involved as well?
He's supposed to.
He'd almost have to. Well, wait, did he direct the first two? I know he did at World's End, or the World's Edge, whatever that.
Yeah, World's End. Yeah.
I don't remember if he did Hot Fuzz or
Hot Fuzz is the best one.
Yeah, Hot Fuzz for me was it.
It's for one reason only.
Yeah, the fence.
The fence joke. That has the best Finch joke out of all the movies.
That was absolutely fantastic.
I like the drop kick. That was the best scene. I laughed my ass off.
What about him? Oh,
Drop
he's so ugly.
World's End is good. I like it.
It was okay. I felt it was the weakest of the trilogy.
Probably like now that I'm really thinking over it, it's probably the
Well, I mean,
I'm not gonna say the
simultaneously,
worst
if you were
one.
following the trilogy rule, like the middle movie always had to be the darkest one.
I'm not gonna say that it was the I'm not gonna say it was the worst one because that's kind of like saying it was bad. It
Yeah,
just
that's
wasn't
what
as good. Just wasn't as good as the other ones. Like
Right.
Shaun of the Dead was hilarious. I mean,
Yeah, that was creme de la creme right there. And then you got Hot Fuzz, and then World's End was kind of like a conclusion.
like I said, I'm not saying it was the worst of them. I'm saying it was the weakest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
I
not
think-
a bad movie. It just
it wasn't a bad movie, but it wasn't one of the greatest of those three.
right.
it was funny. I mean, I still laughed
Oh
at it.
yeah. It had some really
Yeah.
good parts and everything, but
Yeah, absolutely.
at the same time, you have something that had the same similar movie.
Mhm.
With what was it? Ben Stiller did a similar movie, the Neighborhood Watch, and it's basically the same movie that came out beforehand,
Yeah.
and it kind of set the agenda for that type of plot line.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened.
Yeah. All right.
But
Well, we're going to wrap this up. So,
Yeah.
to kind of just to recap a little bit, going back to the NFL segment of the show, if you want, go ahead and what David will do is he'll put our Venmo.
You can mention us on X, Facebook, Instagram, all Angry Me Production. And if you want to be part of the football thing, what it is we're just raising money. And we, as the host, we're putting in $5. If you want to put in $1, hey, put in $1.
Yeah, I mean,
Put
the panel is going to do $5 per person per week. And at the end of the season, the person with the worst records, he's going to they're instead of being shamed into submission, they're going to be the ones that pick the charity that we donate to. The only prerequisite that we have is it needs to be a veteran-based charity. We're going to do all the vetting and everything like that. We're going to have a list. Chris is going to compile a list for us of certified 501c nonprofit veteran organizations that we can donate to at the end of the season. But if you as the viewer want to chip in, just shoot us a line on any of our social media platforms.
Yeah, and it'll be strange because I'm using a Venmo with my name on it, but I don't even touch that.
Yeah, and as far as transparency is going to be concerned, we will provide screenshots of all the transactions and everything like that.
Yeah, we'll put them on.
I mean, we'll be completely transparent about it. It's nothing shady or shitty going to be going on about it.
I didn't get to do my picks for this week.
Well,
the picks from last. Yeah.
So we did the picks a week early, so we got them out of the way. You know,
your picks are in.
Yeah, your picks are.
Okay.
But so if you want to donate to that, reach out to Dave on any one of our social media platforms, and we'll get you the Venmo address to donate to. But yeah, it's going to be fun. We just decided to kind of change the format for our NFL picks up this year, and this is going to give us an opportunity to respectfully disagree with each other as far as our picks are going to be concerned, that kind of a thing. So it'll be a fun season to watch for sure, and definitely one that will be enlightening as far as our ability or inability to play fantasy football, kind of a thing. So
there you go. And if this goes well, we might who knows, we might even start an Angry Me.
Yeah, we might. Yeah, I mean, depending on the season, that's a great idea, Chris. We might start a fantasy league for next season. So
yeah.
I mean, for me, fantasy sports is what the guys who played or what guys that made fun of the people who played D&D played when they were not making fun
And,
of D&D.
and trust me, D&D players make fun of them because I did it a lot.
Yeah. So I mean, I did both, so I was catching it from both ends. Yeah.
Giggity.
Yeah, giggity.
Anyways, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. I'm David Dickerman.
I'm Johnny Skelton.
I am Chris Jacka.
I'm Colin Skeleton.
Jeez.
You have become privy. You have become indentured. You become collateral damage, as it was stated earlier by the great Master Chief. But in the words of the great late pirate Bearded Clam, scissor me timbers. And David,